into the chat, and we'll relay those to Michael at the end. And of course, those people here in the room, likewise, if you have a question, just raise your hand. Speak loudly. We don't have a microphone to take to you. Unfortunately, we have only one microphone, and then it will be recorded because this video will be put onto our website after this presentation, as most of them are, with the presenter's permission. And Michael has given us permission to put this on the ESCOM website at escom.marin.edu. Okay, so today we have a local celebrity that many of you, I'm sure, already know, but for those of you who don't, Michael Pritchard is a multi-talented comedian, actor, voiceover artist, and youth advocate. And he'll reflect on what he's learned from 40+ years of service to the community. Using a humorous approach in discussing serious topics with young people in schools, summer camps, and jails, Michael has helped thousands in difficult circumstances to thrive and succeed in life. Michael also won first place.
No sound. No sound. Harvey.
No.
And Sesame Street. And the presentation he made at Benicia Middle School was featured in the 2011 documentary Happy, the film that takes viewers on a journey across 5 continents in search of the keys to happiness. So today, Michael is going to share what he's learned from his years of service, as I said, and also share with us his lessons from the heart. So I give you Michael Pritchard.
Larry! Give Larry a big round of applause. My honor and pleasure to be here. Do you have, let us know if you have sound. Do you have sound? Sound. Okay, here we go. First of all, I want to say I love you. You are my neighbors. Let's try that again. I love you. You are my neighbors. There we go. And what we're learning, I think, more than anything else is right now, the kids after COVID are dysregulated. They're lonely, they're sad, they're hurt, they're wounded, they're trying to figure it all out. We had so many days without school and no human contact, and our little kids and our big kids are all trying to figure it all out. And I'm one of the big kids trying to figure it all out too. So I want everybody to know that I live in the realm of comedy, laughter, fun, joy, neighborhood. Neighborhood is neighbor good, and neighbor good is neighborhood. And I've been doing it a long time. Now, to give you a little background, so you know who I am and where I have proceeded from and am headed towards, I will say that I grew up back in the Midwest. I was a Midwest kid, was a Catholic school kid. I had a mom who was a Catholic school teacher. I had a dad who was an Army officer. You remember my father? You remember the World War II guys? As long as you live under, you'll do as, or you can. You want something to cry about? If everybody else jumped off the bridge. And my all-time favorite, do you want me to turn this car around right now? Remember that? And who could blame my pop? All he had for a role model was John Wayne. The greatest line ever delivered on education was delivered by John Wayne in the movie Sands of Iwo Jima. Life is tough, but it's a lot tougher when you're stupid. Who can argue that logic from a Marine Corps sergeant? Grow wise. Bring Solomonic wisdom. Go to a community college. When I got out of the military, I'd been a medic taking care of wounded, and I learned something powerful. Life is triage. Lots of wounded, keep moving. Lots of wounded. Life is triage. Keep moving. Lots of wounded. Keep moving. Lots of wounded. And I learned that that was a great way to grow when I was a kid. I was 17, 18, 19 when I was in the military, taking care of very badly hurt people. But I learned more about myself and the word that makes us most happy. And that word is what comes from that movie that I did. They found out with all this research paid for by a brilliant man named Tom Shadyac, who did the movies Bruce Almighty, Evan Almighty, Ace Ventura 1 and 2, Patch Adams, Liar Liar, Nutty Professor. And he had Robin in his Patch Adams movie. And he gave $500,000 to these two young filmmakers. And they went all over the world. And you can see it. You can pull it up on your internet. And it's called The Happy Movie. And what Shadyac learned, and the reason he learned it is he had a bike accident. And he had a wicked brain depression, an injury. And he found out with all of his billions of dollars, only one word makes us happy: compassion. Loving and caring about others. It's what I teach kindergarten kids. The best ship to sail on? Friendship. Some of you aren't laughing hard enough. We're living in a time where that's hard. But why would that be hard? You know, I opened at the Greek Theater for my beloved friend that I still think of the world, Joan Baez. And when I was opening for her, and her sister Mimi and I were good friends from Bread and Roses. And I helped them for, I think now it's 47 years. And we do shows at hospitals and hospices. We do at prisons and jails. We do churches and kid groups and lost souls group. And oh, it's so fun. And I was doing this. It's going to make you guys laugh. It's so silly. It's so ridiculous, right? Richard Nixon was the most powerful man on planet Earth in 1974 as he's getting ready to leave office. He left us the great legacy of his Solomonic words. I'm going to do Nixon because when I had dark black hair, I used to do this up in front of millions of people and they'd roar laughing. I love your laugh. You're hired. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the last words that Richard Nixon said, there are people out there and they will hate you. And they will only win if they get you to hate them back, because then you begin to destroy yourself. Gee, Mr. President, where were you for that memo in kindergarten? What comes around, what goes around? Kids, listen to our hearts. A great teacher by the name of Helen Keller was asked, "Oh, Miss Keller, it must be hard for you to be blind." And she said, "It would be if I had no vision." We see with our hearts. We want all of you to see with your heart. We want all of us to see with our hearts. Open that heart valve up. Keep it going. Keep it going for laughter, humor. The crazy, ironic things is Larry's writing about the synchronicities, the serendipity. You know, things happen by coincidence, right? My favorite line is, coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. That'll hit you later. Everything happens for a reason. We don't know why. Many, many good things if we're awake. Now, Vignale, the great French writer, said, in order to make your dreams come true, the most important thing you have to do, wake up. Right? Be awake to the fact that there's miracles all around us. And we shouldn't, even when we're cynical and angry and bitter and toxic at times. A cynic is somebody who knows the price of everything, the value of nothing. And sarcasm comes from the Greek term, the tearing of flesh off the human spirit. And if you see a person doing paper cuts on other people, they're the most wounded. They're hurting the most. And so what do we know to teach them? That Mark Twain said, who was a bitter cynic because he'd lost his daughter, Susan. I'm from Missouri. I read up on, I love Mark Twain and his writings, brilliant writer, but a wounded soul. Say it again. Brilliant writer, wounded soul. He became cynical and sarcastic from the wounds. Trauma is from the Greek word woundedness, trauma. I learned about trauma way early when I was a little boy, taking care of my father who had cancer. And I learned that what we could learn is what Kling was talking about. When you see the person who's cynical or sarcastic or mean or cruel, you know one thing. They're more wounded than anybody. And what happens to them is they're pouring those sarcasm and other things out on people. And what they don't know is they're doing the most damage to themselves. They're containing inside their spirit and heart the acidics that will take their lives early. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Good class. This is great kindergarten class.
Yes.
So what we're trying to express to all of us, the one great thing about emotional intelligence, and now it's been defiled as socialism, emotional intelligence. Trying to teach people to love one another is. And for me, when my wife yells at me, and she does, I always put on the NCAA look. No clue at all. When she yells at me, I just go. Are you mad? Anyway, so well, I like, when it's best, when I know you need to laugh. I like to be on elevators with serious people. I get on and they go, hello. And then I press 5, 4, and 3. I get off at 5 and I run down the stairway past 4. And I get on the same elevator with the same people. And I go, have you seen my twin brother? You don't stop laughing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop laughing. You don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing. And stop worrying about what everybody thinks. Worry, as Bishop Fulton Sheen said, is a form of atheism. How true. Because let me say this, and I want you to all repeat it with me. Fear.
Fear.
Then fear.
Fear.
Forgetting everything's all right.
Forgetting everything's all right.
Well, it's a livable one, right? Here's the little dark room where negatives are developed. My friend Annie Lamott, whom I love very much, she's a very funny, brilliant writer here in the local community, said, fear. Future events already ruined. So what do we learn? What's the most powerful thing? What people think of me is none of my business. Who cares? They don't know my heart. They don't know my journey. What people think of me is none of my business. Who cares? They don't know my heart. They don't know my journey. They don't know what I've been through. A great teacher named Mother Teresa said, if you judge people, you'll never have time to learn to love them and heal them. When you're dealing with young men that are badly burned and you have to scrub skin off them and they're calling you filthy, dirty, rotten names, your job is to love them through it. Because those wounds are on the outside. Many of the people we deal with have wounds on the inside. So when I first started to work with kids, and this is what they taught me, I had kindergartners. They're brilliant. They're brilliant. I said, and I was laughing so hard because I go, what did you learn today? What I said about bullying. Don't let their bad day be your bad day or your bad day be their bad day. Don't play angry tag with people. I go, can you come to Washington, D.C. with me? Well, you weren't laughing hard enough. So out of nowhere, what as a kid teacher, up at Hamilton Air Force Base at one of the schools, I'm sitting there. I call it that because we used to wonder, but it's Hamilton School. And I said to the kids, you don't have to blow someone else's candle out to make sure yours shines brighter. And this little second grade kid goes, Mr. Mike, if you do go around blowing out other people's candles, eventually you'll be the one in the darkness.
Beautiful.
Second grade. Second grade. Shouldn't we be listening to her heart? Not trying to teach her quite so much. Call that emotional. I was talking to one of the ladies who teaches special ed, and I went to a class. I'm sitting there with my 5-year-old grandson. I have a bunch of grandkids. I love them. They're Slovenian, they're Maltese, they're Filipino, they're also Russian. And my little Russian grandson who's got bright red curly hair, he teaches me daily what is important in life. What is important in life? Protecting holy innocence. I'm standing there talking to him. I pull up the Big 5 Sports up by where I live up in San Rafael, and I'm sitting there and I see an elderly man, and his face is a Danish painting of sorrow and sadness and trauma. I'm a dad and a grandfather, but he's a homeless man sitting on an island, and he's in his 80s. And I know we're not supposed to. But my heart is of Jesus Christ. Not meant as a commercial. I go, sir, can you come here, please? All I have is a 5, right? It's all the money I have. That's the only cash I have. But please take this. Don't buy tobacco. Don't buy alcohol. Do something nice for yourself. Thank you. God bless you. I go, all right. Have a nice day, Jesus. My grandson goes, Grandpa, I hope you know that was not Jesus. I go, you know what, Braun Cosmos Dimitrovich Bakirin? I know that wasn't Jesus, buddy, but that's how we're supposed to treat people, like you would like to be treated. And about a minute goes by, out of nowhere, from my rearview mirror, he goes, Grandpa. Oh, yeah. I actually get it. He was talking one day about protect holy innocence. I wish you could see how lovely your faces are right now, like a great, beautiful garden. I said to him when he was a little boy, I said, you know, do you have anything to tell us about school? And he goes, at my school, Grandpa. And he's got a little bit of a touch of the tism, right? There's a teacher in my school, and she's like the nicest teacher. She's not even my teacher, but she's got bright red curly hair, and she's so nice to everybody, and she's like especially nice to me. And I don't know whether it's because I got red hair or whatever, but it's only you and Mom in the car. I don't know. I would never see this any other time, but I think that I'm in love with her. When I swore my allegiance in as a juvenile probation officer and as a military person, I swore allegiance to protecting the innocence of America and standing righteous and ready at any time to defend people that were vulnerable. This is all that's requested of us. So I dedicate my show to a young man by the name of Scott Wirtz, the Navy SEAL. We lost him in Syria in a bombing. But he grew up and he went to a Catholic school in De Smet. And he lived the words all through his life because he loved his grandfather, who was a Navy sailor in World War II, Semper Fortis, which means always with courage and strength. Semper Fortis, strong. And so as we go along, we learn that this is life. right? And one of the big things that I was telling Larry about was that there's a connectedness to the greater good in all. Now, the ancient Norsemen, they called it Wodan. The Native American called it Wokan. The Hindu call it prana. The kahunas of Hawaii call it mana. The Chinese call it chi. The Japanese term is ki. The Hebrew term is ruach hakodesh. Christians and Catholics call it the Holy Spirit. And my buddy up the road that I've worked for years, George Lucas, calls it the force is strong within you. The force is strong. And it's true. If we build that force, it's a spiritual attunement, moral turpitude, a love, kindness, right? Like I tell the little kids, unwind, find kind, remind. And when we're doing that, we're learning. When I work with special kids and even my grandkids, I get to start laughing because you're so smart. Smartest generation that has ever arrived on this planet. I promise you that. And I'm with them every day and they make me cop. And my little grandson, I go, Grandma and I want to do this milk thistle bush so that you learn there is no death. Life goes on. Life goes on. This little caterpillar climbs up inside and it transforms into a butterfly and it goes around. It's a monarch butterfly. And he looks at me and goes, well, actually not, Grandpa. They fly to Pacific Grove where they anchor themselves in the bark of trees and reserve their energy for the 2,000-mile trip to Mexico, where in Aguamente they lay their eggs and then their family members fly back up. And I go, what are you talking about? Who would teach you such a thing? Where did that even, who said that to you? Where'd that come from? And he goes, you don't watch Wild Kratts and I watch Wild Kratts. If you watched, it's a biology show by two brothers and they're cartoons in real life and it's a good show. You should watch it because you'll be better informed. That's what we call a touch-up. If you pick up what's the number one story, listen to me carefully. I love you. Here. Autism spectrum kid with low verbal skills. They're studying them now and they have telepathy. Don't believe me. Go on the internet and watch the kid. Watch his mother. Watch the miracle. And never quit 1 minute before the miracle happens. Coming our way is a brilliant group filled with hope and laughter and joy and smartness. I have a young kid down in, his name is Praveen. He's Eastern New York, one most wonderful kid. We had an interview with him. I was like in shock. He said, you know what we've done, Mr. Pritchard? And he goes, I'm only a sophomore here, but my sister and her best friend from school are high functioning and low functioning autistic people. And what happened was that many autistic people like to have a safe space in their home. And they'll escape to that safe space. It's like a sanctuary. You might have had that in any neurodivergent kid. Just be alone. I was an ADHD kid. I understand it. And Praveen said, what we've done, my father helped me, we created a computer system so that because what happened was she lost her best friend from school in a fire because he wouldn't leave his safe spot. And his mother stayed with him, Mr. Pritchard. And I went over to see them, and then I watched the firefighters and cops and paramedics coming out, and they were more wounded than me. Because it's their job to secure and rescue people, and they were wounded because they couldn't save a special needs person and the mother. So I created from that incident a whole program for the computer to send out to fire departments, police departments, because we lose so many people to misunderstandings. And we have gotten people to answer the questionnaires, and they tell you about their special needs people before you arrive at the first responders thing, because so many of them are being shot inappropriately. So many are being hurt and wounded inappropriately. But if we get forewarned on the way there in the truck, in the car, and in the ambulance, wow, think of the good we can do. And I just sat there and I was crying. There's nothing worse than a 300-pound man crying, you know. Because what I'm learning is there's a generation coming forward to save us. Did you know that secure and rescue have the same letters? Heart and earth, same letters. Silent and listen, same letters. You know how I know that? A dyslexic kid. A dyslexic kid taught me. I go, how do you know all that? I mean, they all call me stupid. They call me retard. They call me whatever, but they don't know my heart. I mean, I look at things differently. Like I know this, the word blame is blah, blah, blah in front of me. Me, blah, blah, blah. And shame is me at the end of shh. I'm like, wow. Wow, I'm not going to stop teaching and I'm just going to sometimes just listen. Because I have so much to learn in my heart from listening. This is what I've done for 50 years, and I love the laughter, and I love the special needs kids. And how smart are they? Oh, I'm in Pismo Beach. There's a couple of shows you can see. The George Lucas film is called Lessons from the Heart, because I was a neurodiverse kid. You know, sometimes you get really superpowers because, you know, I couldn't control my emotions and activity. I was just excited to learn, excited to be around my classmates. I was so filled with emotional empathy and love and compassion for my classmates and my teachers and everybody. The nun used to slap me and I go, what was that for? And she'd go, I'll think of something. Oh, it didn't hurt. I was that kid that laughed. And she knew my mother and they were friends. But here's what I can tell you. I was talking to kids one day. I didn't think too much about it because you're always caught unaware, because there is a God and he loves us. He teaches us daily. And I said, what do you think? And when he said, well, can you get up in front, do you think? And he goes, no, I don't know. There's 1,600 kids at Pismo High School. And I go, who here could share what it feels like to be picked on, teased, laughed at, shunned, shamed, or ridiculed? Up goes his hand. And I know he's a high-functioning autistic kid with a heart as big as all outdoors for his classmates. He gets up and he goes, you all call me the school loser, the school loner, the school shooter, but you don't know me. I get called all these names and I can't stand loud noises because I come to school and I have high functioning autism, but I can't stand the sound of noises. So I hide out in the cafeteria and I hide out in the library, and all I want to do is just be left alone. But I need friends, and because I'm going on to college and I need to know how to do that. And I feel sometimes so lonely and left out, and I'm just smart about some things, but really I don't know how to use my heart in the right way. But you all should get to know me, and you all should get to try and understand me, and you should all try to make a friend of me, because chances are ever increasing you will have a kid like me one day. And then what will you do? There was a silence in that room that was deafening. There were tears coming from people completely unexpected, including some bullies. Hurt people hurt people. Some kids are crying with bullets instead of tears. In Macbeth, there's a line, always give sorrow words. Grief that does not speak whispers to the overfraught heart and bids it to break. We know that tears that do not flow will make other organs weep inside of. It's okay to cry. Good to let go. Good to get hugs from people and let so. It's good to know that that's good. It's good. All of us will mourn. All of us will need each other. We're going to have moments where we're going to need each other more than we can ever imagine. And the gift is to do that all the time for kids. I am not a wealthy man, not even by the longest stretch. I have a son who's a doctor. He's an ER doctor up in Kaiser, up in Santa Rosa. And I have a son who's a writing teacher, and he teaches because he had a couple of hit sitcoms, and his heart is all into teaching young people to express themselves through writing on Substack, writing movies. And then I have a daughter. She's a therapist. You know what a therapist is? She styles women's hair and listens to their life situation. Guess who's the smartest one in the family? Guess who's the most psychically empathic, intuitive? Guess who knows more than anybody I've ever met? And guess who's been awesome to my life? And my wife and daughter and I have this incredible, she's the mother and of little Bron Cosmos. And the joy and laughter is medicine to the human soul. So again, when you meet the cynic, the cold and ruthless person that is cold and ruthless and cruel, remember, when they go home sometimes when they pass gas, the furnace comes on. Some of you aren't laughing hard enough. There's a coldness inside individuals that choose to be cold. They are wounded. There's no reason to blame them. Unless, like I talked when I was very close in the canal. The kids are hilarious. Any immigrant kids. I was the grandson of an immigrant family, big Irish Catholic family. And all my uncles went off to World War II. And as Ike Eisenhower said brilliantly, when my boys first came to Normandy, I don't think they had a clue what they were fighting for. But when they got to Auschwitz and Dachau and Mauthausen, they knew exactly what they were fighting against. Well, it's hard to be hateful with a plate full of grateful. That'll hit you later. We're wise people. We grow every day. We learn every day. Brilliant writer Stephen Ambrose said, when it came to World War II, we sent our best. They did their best, and the world was saved from evil. Again, when it came to World War II, we sent our best. They did their best, and the world was saved. Well, the line, of course, evil flourishes when good people do nothing. A great writer named Elie Wiesel said, hate is not the enemy of love. It is yet more indifference. We've got to care. We've got to stand, got to love, got to find compassion. We got to look in each other's eyes as I'm doing right now. I wish you could see yourself. I wish you could. You'd be amazed at how we have grown together in this short time. Because words are love and love is words. And don't use your words as swords. Use your words as shields to defend us. I'm talking to little kids, especially the kindergartners. The most wisdom, I believe, resides in the youngest because of the innocence. There's this moment when we're talking, and I'm thinking, what did you learn today? And they're so wise, soul and heart and connection. I think more than anything with kindergartners, they're pure water. Totally good medicine for all of us. To spend time with the small 3, 4, or 5-year-old is to be in heaven. Is to be in a place and be away from all of it. Because you will find love there like no other love on planet Earth. Just that you're there to be with them. I was up at St. Vincent's at the orphanage, and I walked out after church services, and I'm standing there, and there's a lost little boy. And I've worked with kids in violent circumstances, murders, shootings, deaths. I've worked lots of school shootings all over America. And I'm standing there, and he goes, "Mr. Mike, can I talk to you?" And I go, "Sure. Yeah. No, I'm not here. I mean, I want just, we go somewhere?" I go, "Yeah, we'll go around the corner to Father Dave's office." So we walk around. Yeah. I go, "What'd you need, brother?" "Nothing." "You need nothing. You got me all the way over here to the other side. What do you need me for?" And he goes, "I just wanted to be with somebody who loved me." Stay with me. Coming in and going out, the same thing. I want to be with folks like that. I want to be with folks that are growing in their hearts, learning in their hearts, and sharing that wisdom. And being up on Zoom, dude. We, all of us, have a great emotional sincerity inside of us. And all we need to do is talk to the right person about how to portray that. You. There's a great teacher who said, Nellie Lincoln, she wrote, "On the road of life, you only have one constant companion, so make sure that you become good company for yourself." You hear that? How wise is that? She also wrote a poem. "Oh, the winds of God are blowing, so keep your sails unfurled, and the winds of God will take you to the safe harbors of the world. Forever full of power to take you where you will, forever full of grace if there are sails to fill. So take the helm, be master, unfurl your sail, your part, and the winds of God will take you to the safe harbors of your heart." Wow. Right? Nellie Lincoln, St. Dorothy's Rest, Sonoma. A camp first started for tuberculosis and now for kids with cancer. I've been there for years, laughing, having fun with kids who are suffering from cancer, hurt, pain. Let us not get distanced from the grief and sorrows of the world, for it seems crazy, but therein lies laughter beyond your comprehension. When my little boy, who's a giant, enormous Viking kid, the one who's a writer, he looks like a big, giant Viking who's conquered the coast of Northern Ireland. It's huge. You know, let me show you. And I love him. He's the sweetest kid. He's got such a great heart. And we were talking about this, about finding the gentle side of being a man. And when he had his little daughter, he became a defender of innocence, a lover of kindness, soul of great wisdom, Solomonic wisdom. And when he was a little boy, I mean, I have to tell you, he had pneumonia, developed into something way worse. And we almost lost him in the room. And God bless him. My friend Robin Williams came down because my wife goes, "Get this idiot out of here. He's driving me crazy, crying." And I got to help the baby, get him out of here. And I go, yeah. So Robin and I go out. We did a bunch of comedy shows, a form of prayer. Make people laugh. You know, at a 100-year-old Marine at the Marines Memorial, I said, Tommy Malloy, what's the best part of turning 100? And he went, the absolute lack of peer pressure. You couldn't hire a comedy writer to write. And so I said, you know, I'm talking to him when he's 16 months old and he's strapped into his bed in the intensive care unit at Children's. And want you to get better, buddy. I want you to get better. I want you to have a big life, a good life, a kind life, a sweet life. I want you to write books. My wife goes, here, Robin, get out of here right now. When we came back, the young doctor was standing. Funniest moment, I think, in my comedy career. My wife is from Chicago. She's hilarious, but she's got, you know, stuff in Chicago. Her auntie always going, Auntie Donna Giancana Duffy always going, hey, husky people on the wood, no lawn chairs for you big fatties. She made me filled with joy. And my wife standing there and a young doctor with wisdom and hurt and sorrow, and he's awfully young. And he goes, do you and your husband feel guilty about the baby getting pneumonia? And my wife goes, you know, Doc, we talked it over. We thought, well, maybe it was that night we left him out in the cold pouring rain. And he was pounding on the door with that teeny little fist of his. And we said, no, you stay outside until you contract pneumonia. We laughed. Robin started laughing, and he was holding me up. That laugh was the grace for the survival mechanism that filled me up all the way. There is no death. There is only surrender. And if you surrender, it doesn't go well. You must be strong and loving and kind. But we start with ourselves. We understand ourselves. As I talked to a little kid one day, I said, don't overstand, understand. And the kid goes, yeah, Mr. Mike, what about understanding? Wouldn't that as well be helpful? Understanding ourselves and others, that'd probably be a good thing to do. And I'm like, wow, a fourth grader can teach me more than all of my college professors at Southeast Missouri State University. I loved going to the community college. It helped me when I got out of the military to go here. Not here, but back in St. Louis. And it was the greatest event because I thought, man, I'm saving grandma money and I'm doing things that are going to be helpful and I'm going to learn to be something different. And I became a probation officer, working with really hardcore street kids and trying to bring them to wisdom. I used to sit across from my parolees and go, hey, Karma has your address. Some of you aren't laughing hard enough. Karma has your address. The angels know where you live. GPS is on your soul. If he loves you and he created you, he will see you all the way through. He will know what you did or did not do for yourself enough. He will ask you to love others and also start by loving yourself. And there it is. And there is that great wisdom and that great knowledge. And that's why when you're with the little kids and the special needs kids teach you. I often tell this story that we were at Special Olympics. I love special kids. I think many of them are spies from God. And we were out at Special Olympics. You ever seen a kid run and laugh? I tell this a lot because it's a heart story. Boom, the gun goes off and the kids take off running. This little Down syndrome girl's in the front. She's running and laughing and laughing and running. And she gets all the way down to the finish line and stops. And I was her coach. And I said, no, Annie McCarthy, no. Keep going. Come to me. Come to Coach Mike. Come here. Come here. No, coach. I said, no, you don't understand. Come here to me. You win first place. You get the gold medal. No. We'll stay here for my friends. She turned around and put her hand out for her friend, who turned and put her hand out for her friend. And then all 6 kids held hands and they went across the finish line together. Together we all could win. I actually told that at the Bohemian Grove. There was a dead silence, not knowing, I think, at times there were presidents and former presidents. But there was this moment when a dad smoking a big cigar who had a Down syndrome daughter stood and began to applaud. The rest began and stand. Lead. Lead, lead, lead. Help people to their heart. Help people to their healing. Help people to their compassion. Help people get there. Love one another. And then make sure they see you doing it for yourself. Having fun. I don't think I've ever had more fun than I have now at 75. I'm laughing so hard at all the, because the kids will just, I was in Carmel Valley. We raised $50,000 in, I think, 15 minutes from a speech I was given. And this one fella who was very generous and a good man, and he came up and he helped make a really good outcome for all of us. And this is a respite center for senior folks to let their families have some time away from their special needs divergence and to rest but also to send them to a place filled with other loving people like us who take care of them. And what made me crack up was one of the fellows walked up who filmed me, like on a thing like today. And he comes, he's the greatest. He walks up and goes, I was the one who was filming you. I learned how to film, and I am the one who was filming you. You are right in front of me. I was the one who did that. I go, oh, did you like the show? You're very funny, but you're not as funny as you think you are. And when my son, I always love my son, when the comedy writer's always with me when things happen to me. He's hilarious, right? Like one time I was speaking at Portland University, a very nice university, and I'm walking up in my car. Connor Bannon Pritchard, named after his mother's family. Boy, he's got a good combo. And we're walking up, and there, written on the dust of my big expedition, is "Was I me?" And I said, you see, a kid from philosophy class heard everything that I was talking about, learning to be yourself, learning to be true, learning, the line, if I'm not for me, who will be? But if only just for me, what am I? If not now, when? Be yourself, right? And I said, was I me? That kid's a genius. President Lincoln said, and very powerfully, and I think, always appeal to the angel of your higher nature. E. Cummings, the poet, said, to be yourself in a whole world full of people trying desperately to make you be exactly like them is to fight the greatest battle that ever was or ever will be. And my son, a graduate of a great Loyola University, playing rugby, goes, Pops, I love you, but you're an idiot. That says wash me on the car. I go, shut up and get in the car. Paid a lot of money for you to go to a Jesuit school. Had my job, had my drum, the glorium, all for the greater glory of God. And in that moment, I laughed so hard on the way back to the hill. Because in our best moments, people must mock us for pretending to know more than they, and they are little kids know the most. They're so freshly baked. Loves them. And however you perceive God to be and whatever you think God is, you are correct. As long as you're beginning with the line love. Love. That's what it's all about. And all I can tell you is I've had a great and very wonderful life all the way through. Laughed and seen some sadness. Did a lot of, when I know America's at its best, I was with Governor Tom Ridge. I've worked for all of the presidents, and I don't care, Democrat or Republican. I've been in this little fraternity that says, do not engage in politics or religion, because they are triggers to rage and anger. Do not engage the rage. Turn the page. Do not engage the rage. Turn the page. Forgive to live. Live to forgive. Now, I know this. I was like laughing about this myself, just about how funny that is. When you know in that way that a child can teach you more in a half second than every college professor you've ever had. No intention to dismiss college professors or doctors or lawyers or people that are with you. But when we are allowing it to seep into our heart where it should exist, our soul, our character, our spirit, what you want to call it. Sometimes I know that religion is for people afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for people who have already been there. I practice my faith every day. But as I said to the two young men who were very anti-Semitic one time in the military, and I knew they were both Catholic. Gentlemen, every day I go to chapel. I pray to a Jewish teacher and his mother by rosary, in hopes that they would understand how much I love them, appreciate the blessings they have given me. For you to say these words about one of your fellow Marines is wrong. And they both sat quietly and said, "We got you, Sarge." I go, "Good." We teach quietly and slowly by example. Best sermon is a good example. Take care of each other's. I have loved being here today, and I'm up here now sweating like Dom DeLuise at a Jenny Craig confession seminar. Many of you know I suffer from anorexia ponderosa. I tried that ultra slim fast. I found out it tastes great on Ben and Jerry's ice cream. But here's what I know. Love is love is love. Live love. Laugh with love. Explore all the accesses of helping others. And have a servant's heart. And in that servant's heart, we know the strongest we ever are when we have a servant's heart. We take care of each other. And forgive the curmudgeon-y, angry guy. Last story. When I was up at the canal, I go, "Boys and girls, Ebenezer Scrooge was described. He was a clutching, grasping, raging, skin-printing tyrant, Scrooge. But Scrooge, poor Scrooge, well, he was as solitary as an oyster in his pain." Boys and girls, can you imagine being that person in Marin County, as solitary as an oyster in their pain, just closed up like an oyster? Nobody's going to get to know me. I said, "Doesn't it kind of make you angry or upset?" And I was like, wow, what do you need? You got everything, but what do you need? And this little kid, who's an immigrant kid, goes, he's from Dominican Republic, goes, third grade. Mr. Mike, you're teaching us wrong. I go, what am I teaching you wrong? He goes, you don't get mad at him. Don't dislike him. If you love them, you can create a rainbow pearl inside the oyster in their heart. And I cried, shame. And then this line. Now with me, we pray for the angry person. And he goes, can you imagine, Mr. Mike, how good he feels to be Ebenezer Scrooge on Christmas morning when you laid it all down and you don't, it's not it, you don't have no hate in you, and you decide to surrender all that anger and hate and you let it go. And even if you have money, don't have money, you're being a better person. And it says, as good a man as the good old city knew. Can you imagine how good it must have felt? Huh? Will be Scrooge that morning. I wish for you all on Zoom and here is that we wake up. It's Christmas morning. Remember that. We let go of the fear and the anger and the rage on both sides. Just everybody just let go and wake up to love. Be compassionate in your words. Be compassionate in your tone. Was my favorite. My wife yelled at my grandson, and about 2 minutes before I had gone, hey, you're in kindergarten. Soften your tone, and you'll make more friends. Soften your tone. Now my wife was making cookies. She goes, get. Grandma, soften your tone. All right, we're going to answer. May God bless all of you and all those you love. You will find me if you need me. I got a bunch of cards up here. I work for the TV mass, trying to make sure that we got TV mass going into the jails and prisons, and I still work in prisons and jails. I still listen to the hurt and sorrows and pain. Still working in hospice because I'm learning there. I was at Redwoods one day and I read a book by Tommy Corwin that was called Mostly Bob. And it's a story of a dog in Mill Valley and who passed away. And then the dog next door jumped the fence and came for Tom Corwin to treat him better. And there was a man at Redwoods who echoes, you did this deliberately to make me cry because you knew where I was before. I was not getting loved, and now I'm here and people are so nice and kind. You did that to make me cry. And one of the elderly ladies, shut up, Bert. Not everything's about you. In those reflective, fun moments where we're engaged, we're reading. It's about literature and education, love and credit. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself, please. No, I'm not for me. You will be. I'm only for me. Who am I? If not, if you need me, and I'm seriously saying this, because Larry called me and I said, yeah, no. I love you. You're my neighbor. I love all mine. If you need me, if something comes up, you're hurt, you wounded, you're sad, just need somebody to sit and be with, or read you a poem, I'll find you. I promise you. 229 Mark Twain. How ironic is that? Right behind Civic Center. God bless and keep all of you. Thank you very much. And if anybody has a question, I'll answer. Any questions? I know I overwhelm people. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I do. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yes. What is there? Well, I get them up, but there was a moment when I asked them to get up and share. This is kind of overwhelming. I don't want to, but this is what happens. There's this moment when I am talking, and I said, who here could share what it feels like to be molested as a small child or raped as an adult male? And a lot of times I'll go, hard, and they get up. Because if you want to know the genesis for crime and hatred and anger and violence, it's in acts of abuse. And when they did share, it overwhelmed them. And when I was leaving, one of the correctional officers, oh God, I had them listed as different numbers and it isn't they who have me. I go, yes, ma'am. Good officer. Sure. Oh, Robin's mother, Lori, she was the daughter of a senator from Mississippi. She was hilarious. I loved her so much. Robin was hilarious. Lori was hilarious. And I did so many things with her. I did events with her and stuff. And she lived in Tiburon. And then, but the thing was, you could see it's in the DNA. She was so funny and fun and nonplussed. She wasn't worried about what people thought. She was a Christian Scientist, and all the love that came from her faith poured into that young man. I asked you to see this movie called Robin's Wish. And, you know, I've done a bunch of movies. I did one called Be Robin with Margaret Cho. We helped the homeless on the streets. And Margaret will tell you in the thing, I talked to Mike Pritchard, Robin's friend, and I said, don't grieve Robin. Don't mourn Robin. Be Robin. Others. And we raised $100,000 busking. And it was amazing. Okay. Yes. Right. Oh. Yeah. She is just exactly. She is. Looks like Robin. Yeah. Animated. And yeah. Can you imagine being a senator's daughter and probably having high functioning autism and ADHD? Like when I talk to the kids, they go, hey, Mr. Pritchard, you know what ADD? I go, Stevie, I got ADD. You know how many people, it takes to screw in a light bulb? I go, no. You want to go to a Giants game? He wasn't kidding, right? If you read the book, you know, and Robin made me go. It's called The Edison Gene by Thomas Hartman. And Robin's made me go down, and I went down to a school. Miss Spielberg walked up, gave me a checklist, 28 questions. And of the 28 questions, I ticked every box, and I go, and I was 32. I had a college degree. I'd been a probation officer and a medic in the military. I go, wait, this is me. ADHD, that's me. That's what happened to me. I didn't know that I had that. And she goes, yeah, that's you. That's why I had you come to this school. Landmark school and then Landmark College. I go, how? She goes, Robin did. You did. They need a pathway. Edison gene. One quick quote. Page 77, 79. There was a young man who had an amazing moment in his life. He had the first philosophical society, the first debating society, the first lightning rods, the first eyewear, the first National Guard, the first fire department. He created the first printing press, first testing of all the, when he was the ambassador to France, all of the other things. He created the University of Pennsylvania. Nothing with, all he had was a fourth grade education, but they called him doctor because he was so wise. His name was Benjamin Franklin. Had he been born now, he would have been marginalized, quite possibly institutionalized, and maybe put in prison. Because when I'm with the kids in prison, they're so smart. I was up in Alaska in the prison up at Fairbanks, and I see this elderly guy, and he's carving a piece of scrimshaw, and I go, stool wash. how did you learn to do this? Like, if I have to say that if Michelangelo saw this, he'd go, dude, wow, dude. I go, how did you learn to do this? And he goes, I had a lot of time on my hands, Big Mike. I got a 20-year sentence, but I want these guys to know this may be the way out and to an income stream. Teach love, teach art, music, theater. I know when you look at me, it is impossible for you people to understand, and I love you, that when I first started here in San Francisco, I did a movie called Condom Sense, paid for by the Planned Parenthood. Then I went on an episode of Taxi. I played a gay disco dancer who danced with Judd Hirsch. In 1980, that episode won 8 Emmys. And then I went on to do the Gong Show and did many other things. I won the comedy competition, went on and did the Johnny Carson show. And then I opened for the Holy Father. 3 times. Denver, because we were helping homeless kids, we filmed. I love my faith. Practice. Live it. And I don't judge other people. I want to make sure that everybody's feeling the pure water that comes through in grace. So it's that song they always sing. With the Lutheran priest with the bottom. We were howling. Everybody plays this song. First song they learn on guitar. There is a house in New Orleans. They call the rising sun. It is the ruin of many a poor boy. In God I know I'm one. But when I taught it to him, I taught him these words. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now. Damn. No, ma'am. I don't need the work. I got too much work to do right now. I think of course, the wife is, what? I'm, yes, dear, whatever. I'm very smart about that. Whatever you say, I've learned. You know why most men get married? So they have somebody to finish their sentences. Especially in the later years. And I said to myself, I'm going to go over here. Oh, yeah. So, please. Say it again out loud, louder for me. You know what I love? You know what I love about you? Everything. You know what you need to change about you? Thank you. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. Well, in the native tribes where I teach on the reservations, we have wisdom circles. There with the wisdom. Get your kids to do that. What'd you learn that's wise? Solomonic wisdom. So, okay. All the time. Well, Robin Williams and I were talking about that. We did tons of homeless shows for the homeless. We had a bunch of shows on HBO. When we're walking out, one of the elderly guys goes, Pritchard, thank you for you and Robin coming down here to make us laugh. There's I can figure out. And everybody always wants to do something for us, but nobody wants to do anything with us. You got to do things with people. So, in final blessing, here we go. The words of King Solomon, wise and noble man. There is a river of gladness that runs through the city of the most holy. He is within. It will not fall. He will save it at the break of dawn. Nations and kingdoms will totter. Despots and tyrants will fall. When he lifts his voice, the earth melts away. Come and look at all the desolation that he's put forth on earth. But he ends wars to the ends of the earth, shatters the bow, he splinters the spear, burns the shield with fire. He's still. We know who's Lord of all the host of angels is with us. God of Jacob is our fortress. Of whom should we be afraid? All right, guys. Thanks very much. Get out of here. Larry.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael, for your words of wisdom, your warm and wonderful words of wisdom. And again, if anyone has ideas for programs that they would like to see or hear, much like what you heard today, please go to our website, escom dot, it's escom.marin.edu, and let us know. I'm Larry Tolbert with the program committee, and I with my colleagues will make it happen. Okay, so this concludes today's presentation.
Big round of applause.
We need to talk to you, but not now.